Welcome back, West Deptford, to the Nest, episode 2 of 2021. And, man, excited to be back. Took a couple weeks off to get recalibrated and let the winter season kick off today with my main man, Joe Panchella, across the desk for me. Lots to talk about today. We're going to touch on boys basketball, girls basketball, who both kicked off their seasons. Bowling, who's getting ready to rock and roll and open the season next week. We're going to talk about the middle school basketball programs, and as well as recap a little bit of the fall. So a lot to get to. We want to keep it tight today, but first things first with us. Last week the West Deptford community lost one of our alums, 2018 grad, Gabe Carino, lacrosse player, and just a wonderful human being. His sister Avery is a senior this year, so certainly our community has been dealing with that tragedy. And I'll say this, Mr. Panchella, before I turn it over to you. We both had a lot of experiences with Gabe while he was here. He was going to school at Widener. Just a fantastic, fun-loving young man, and the outpouring of support at Sunday's wake from this community was something that I was just unbelievably proud of, to see a community come together to support a family who's going through an unbelievable, devastating time was pretty incredible to see. So, losing Gabe was tragic, and we're still feeling that today.
Absolutely, and I'm not speechless often, but it's taken me a week or two to really grasp it. But I know we've got Gabe looking down over us, and I know he wants us to keep his name alive. So I'm with you. The outcry of support from the community. Just know that we are thinking of the Carinos. We are here for the Carinos, and we will continue to be here for the Carinos as we continue to mourn Gabe. But we know he's shining his light on all of us, and he'll be keeping an eye on Avery and the family. But just know that we're thinking of you guys, and just a hard time, but we'll continue to honor Gabe and make it really special.
And to see all those kids from that class and other classes come back together. We tell our seniors when they graduate, you're an Eagle forever. You will always be an Eagle. And to see them come out and support and just come together to celebrate Gabe's life was really, something that small towns are made of.
Absolutely. It's what makes me love this place more and more, not being from here, but you just see how everyone continues to rally around, lift each other up, and support each other, and that'll continue for forever, and Gabe will be forever remembered, and his legacy will continue to live on.
Yeah, and Avery, his sister, came back with her team yesterday or the other day, and opened up with a win against Sterling for the first time in 3 decades. Our girls basketball team opens with a road win, nonetheless, over Sterling. And to get into our girls basketball team, talking to Coach Petito, this may be one of the most talented teams we've had. Certainly one of the most experienced teams we've had in the last decade. Their unbelievable competitiveness, their experience, their relentlessness. I mean, these are things that are a hallmark of championship teams, but something that we've expected. I want to see personally this girls' basketball team take this season personal. Like this is going to be our season, and you're either on the train or you're on the tracks type of mentality. And they started that with a win over Sterling. Now they got to play Sterling again because the way that the conference schedule's built this year, it's interesting.
Pretty cool, though.
Yeah,
I do love that format of the rubber match happening right away.
Yeah, so now we host the Knights on Thursday night here at 5:30 in the Nest, but this is a group with 5 seniors that can, and this is from Coach, can blend magically with our youngsters. And I think that's special when you get a deep senior class who's experienced, who has the ability to create relationships with the younger kids and make it a whole team experience. You have something special.
It's a battle-tested group. It's a group that's been through a ton of adversity, has battled injuries, obviously just handled something very, very difficult, and that's something they're going to continue to handle through the rest of the year. Obviously, Avery and Gabe, not only siblings, but best friends as well. But to see that group make her feel comfortable enough to work back in a tough week and let her know that she's always welcome, and see that group rally around that, and then to put on a performance like that, Mr. Morrell, I don't know. There's something special going on there, and that's exactly the response we would want to see as a school and a community, and a great way to honor Gabe right off the jump there. But just a phenomenal group of seniors, and then you look at this list of underclassmen, and this program's not going anywhere.
No, they're not, and they've been working to get to this point. You know, Coach Petito's fifth year, I think, sixth year maybe. I mean, so we're at that point now where we're ready to get over the hump. We've had 3 straight winning seasons. You know, last year we started the season 12-5.
Yep.
So it's time to put the pedal to the metal. And now we don't have championships this year, but the goal is to get 15 games in, and I hope that's something that our kids take into consideration every single day. If we're only getting you're not guaranteed 15 to begin with, but whatever you are going to get, you might as well do everything you can to win them all. In order to make this thing special. But you gotta be smart and commit yourself to the next month and a half, all right, of being smart and making sacrifices to make sure this team can get as many games as we can, because they can do something special for sure.
And we talked about it this fall as well. You know, it's not like where you're just practicing and playing anymore. The responsibility of the entire team to protect themselves, protect their families, make the right decisions outside of school. If you want to play 15 games, it takes the whole entire team making that commitment to say, for the next 2 months, it's basketball and school and family, and that's it. And I got to keep my circle tight. I got to play this thing smart. But again, another opportunity, and a great job by the NJSIAA in a tough time, giving you a schedule and giving you an opportunity to compete. Excited to see Zanaya Carr bounce back from a season-ending injury last year where her season was cut short, and she looks hungry to get after this thing and be a true leader on this girls' basketball team.
What are you saying to your team today at practice after game 1 is such a big time?
I think number one, you do have to acknowledge what a big deal it was, and I know that's hard sometimes because you gotta lace them back up tomorrow and get after this thing. But you have to understand how special that win was. What is it? Second time in school history? Is that what I read?
Yeah, no, some great articles out there.
Yep.
By the way.
And for me, and you and I know, the last 8 years when we hear Sterling girls basketball on the schedule, you're just like, oh man. Yeah. Who's on the roster this year? Which 6-footer do they have? That's right. A phenomenally coached team. They play the game the right way. That's a huge win. I don't care if that's game 1 or game 15, but at the same time, now it's like, hey guys, they're coming for you. Yeah. All right? That's not a team that just rolls over and wants you to beat them twice in a week. But what an unbelievable opportunity to improve on the things that you did wrong and still got a win out of this thing and still becoming complete. You can find yourself in 1 week in this season, and this could be the week for the girls' basketball team.
I know Coach Petito loves very superstition by Stevie Wonder to open up the pregame every day, but he might want to switch over to Journey, Don't Stop Believing, because it's time to put the pedal to the floor and stay in the driver's seat here in the Colonial as we move over to the boys. And the boys, graduated arguably one of the best teams we've ever had a year ago. And while they're rebuilding and they're young and then they're inexperienced, I'll tell you what, man, after watching them in the scrimmage against Kingsway a week ago and then watching them against Sterling in the opener, they've made some significant improvement. And to me, looking at that from a coach's standpoint, if you got coachable kids who are going to scrap, and I think we're learning how to scrap. We're not there yet, but they're learning because they're young. But you got coachable kids that want to learn how to scrap, then you got a shot in just about any game you step on the floor with anybody.
No, I'm with you. We all know that we graduated some of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen, along with a phenomenal team. And you've got a lot of young guys and seniors that didn't get a ton of playing time, their number is being called. And I'm with you. I think the toughness of the team will continue to get better. I think they're going to continue to mesh together. I mean, this game was 33-33 at halftime. Yep. Again, Sterling, a program that is constantly at the top of the conference, always a competitive game, and we're going to continue to grow from this. You needed to get one under your belt. Here it is. Coach McEwen will have a better idea of who can do what for him, but to see this many guys in the box score putting up points and doing some good things for the team, this will be the type of team that if they're unselfish and they commit to what is my role on this team, they're going to battle and they're going to be competitive. I have no doubt in my mind.
And you just brought up a good point, because we dealt with this during the football season when you're so young and you have no preseason. They only had one scrimmage. You got to find out on the fly what you got, and that is uncomfortable. We dealt with that. So if I'm speaking to the youngsters on this team, I'm saying You want to get on the court, there's one thing to do. Be consistent. Be consistent. You know, whether it's practice or a game, show up every day with the same work ethic, and because that creates trust between the coaching staff and the young players. You know, so that's the key. If you're sitting back saying, "How do I get on the court right now as a young guy?" Be consistent, regardless of the scenario.
And it's one of those years where you got to think about, this isn't the 30-game season you normally play. Right. It's 15 games of everything you have day in and day out, and that means games and practices. You got to remember, because it's shortened, you got to be willing to give a little bit more. There's no, welcome into this or starting the year 0-10 and then figuring it out from there. These are big games right off the bat, and I do think they'll figure it out. Coach McEwen's huge on film. They'll continue to watch things, see who can do what for them. But to see some freshmen getting in the game last night, I know Mr. Aiden Kramer was getting in the mix. I'm with you. Every single thing you're doing is being evaluated. And remember, a lot of this group is back next year. So this is a proving type season for a lot of kids with only 3 seniors on the team. There's some opportunities for some young guys to step into some big roles. And I have no doubt that Coach McEwen will continue to put a tough product out on the floor like he always does, and make the most of these opportunities. And I believe these players will buy into that as well.
Coach said he has 3 goals for this team: be relentless, play with energy, and great effort. And that's on the backs of Grayson Rosales, Tommy Franklin, and Danny Curry. And I thought that last night, I think that those guys understand that. And if they take pride in it, then we'll be just fine.
I couldn't agree more with you. And it's the type of season, and I know Coach McEwen loves these types of seasons, where if you're willing to play defense the whole game and make it uncomfortable for your opponent, you're going to be in every single game this year. I have no doubt in my mind. And he's proved that even with teams that aren't as talented as what we've had in the past couple years. And these boys will continue to show up and put in that work.
And I'll tell you what, last night, even though we didn't have a crowd, there's no spectators allowed. I watched the live stream link, and the juice coming from our WDTV production crew and announcers is the best in the land. I think we got, Mr. Kerr said we got 1,197, something like that ish. Watcher or viewers. That's unbelievable. And even though we had no spectators, Ian Murphy and Michael Griffith at the mic, they brought so much energy. It felt like that was a packed gym. So I want to shout out to Jaylee Barcaro, Brian Gallagher, CJ Senator, Kyle Dugan. That's our varsity crew, along with Murph and Griff on the mics. And then we also live streamed the other levels. So JV with Barrett Sims and Mikey Seddon, and then young Luke Lax on the Frost camera. So really proud of that group to provide such an incredible service for our community, out of just a desire to offer their classmates the best possible experience. No,
it's incredible. I threw the boys game on last night, and I was hitting the refresh button because I was like, who are these 2 guys announcing the game? And I know, two people I'm close with, but I'm not just saying this. The back and forth and what they gave to both teams, and I know those players from Sterling will appreciate watching that game afterward as well. Yeah. Just a phenomenal job all around. And we can probably take that into, some middle school basketball, where last night I had the opportunity to work the clock at the middle school boys game, and sure enough, I look up and there's Jaylee and Brian getting ready to go to film that and live stream that. I watched the middle school girls basketball game on Monday through the live stream. Yeah. Phenomenal footage. So just an exciting time at both places to take a situation like we've had with this pandemic, but to still offer that type of atmosphere and environment for the students because of Mr. Kirshner and the crew is just fantastic.
So that's a great opportunity to transition. Before we talk bowling, talk to us about the West Deptford Middle School boys and girls basketball teams.
I'll start with the girls team, and I actually had coached by Coach Rulo, assistant coach Tom Lindsay. They are off to a great start, 2-0 on the year. Big win over Delsey on Monday, and then knocked off Paulsboro yesterday, 55-8.
Always feels good beating the Red Raiders.
Absolutely. Coach Rulo, if you know anything about her, an intense coach, coaches them the right way. The middle school girls basketball team is coming off an undefeated season last year. I had a chance to talk to Coach Rulo's daughter, Molly Rulo, and she talked about they've graduated a ton of talent, some talent that we actually saw in the girls' varsity game.
I was just going to say, you got Janie Cross jumping in there. That senior crew, that freshman crew that came up here this year, Cassidy Russo, Juliana DeFebo, Kara Donovan, Ariana Martinez. I just think that, and Jasenia Diaz, a little sister to Jose Diaz, one of our football players, love Jasenia. To graduate that group and then come out hot like middle school's doing right now speaks to the depth of that program.
And Molly spoke on that. She said, Mr. Panchella, those are some of the most talented players we had seen. So you're talking about replacing 4 and 5 starters on your team that went undefeated, and to see these girls jump into new roles and be ready to go is pretty amazing. Also exciting for me because some of my 7th graders are on the teams as well, and from my classes, and to see how Coach rotates that whole group in. The game on Monday started a little shaky, but once they settled in, it was a Coach Rulo type atmosphere, playing tough defense and getting after it. And I think they're looking to make a run at this thing again. So I'm very, very excited to be involved with that and see what these girls can do.
3 words from your gut right now to define the middle school girls basketball team. Go. 3 words, not big long phrases. 3 words.
Gritty, coachable, determined.
I like it, man.
And you could feel that through a live stream. All right, the game started out 0-0. Everybody's missing shots, both teams, typical first game. And then all of a sudden you just see that West Deptford Middle School team settle in and start trusting what they're doing. And shots were falling, battling on the boards. It was exciting. My wife thought I was crazy as I'm yelling, watching middle school girls basketball downstairs, but very, very excited that the live stream is up and running and we can bring these 2 groups together.
Yeah, I'll tell you who's very excited is the high school girls basketball staff, because they are watching those games closely to see the talent that's coming up to the high school next year. How about the boys?
And you just led right into it. So speaking of varsity boys basketball and middle school basketball, you better believe Coach McEwen peeked in that middle school gym before the game started yesterday to check on the group and let those 7th and 8th grade boys know that this matters. And we are one family, and we are hoping to be one pipeline to move you right through up into the high school. And he was there giving pointers out before he went over to his own game.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was unbelievable. So great to see Coach there. But the boys team, under the direction of Coach Adam DiLorenzo and Coach Mike Sales helps out as well.
Nice.
They're 1-1 on the year. They knocked off Delsea away at Delsea on Monday, came back yesterday, and lost a tough one in overtime home to Gloucester. It was actually Coach Britt versus Coach DiLorenzo. So 2 middle school teachers going at it. Coach Britt is the head coach of the Gloucester City Lions.
Really?
Took over a year or 2 ago.
Oh, that's some tough trash talking the next day.
It was a rough game, but it was an old-fashioned Donnybrook, like you'd expect, from 2 traditional tough towns who really got after it. West Deptford ends up losing 46-43 in overtime, but a very, very exciting game, back and forth, a good battle. Leading scorer for the boys was Deontay. He really got after it. He fouled out late in the game, but it's a team that's going to continue to improve. I know we just saw Mr. Malone, and he said the boys are going to be watching film today and seeing what adjustments they can make. But a great balance of 7th and 8th graders, and again, another opportunity for me to see some of my students in action, but also a great way for me to get to know some of these middle school students. So it was really exciting to do the clock, a little different than covering it as an athletic trainer. I was definitely nervous. Shout out Mr. Gore for doing all those games. I didn't know it took that much. So but it's been an exciting opportunity for me to see how these kids operate, and hopefully I can share some of my knowledge on what it takes at the next level. And I've got Aiden Franza in class, and we were talking today about the game and what he feels they could do differently, and talked about being aggressive. And if there's one thing they did do, they like to compete and they want to get after it. So I expect that team to do some good things this year. Again, having graduated some players and making those adjustments with minimal scrimmages, here you are, and you got to make adjustments on the fly. But Coach D will do it, and can't wait to see more of the boys' games.
Yeah, good players too. Players that are coming up and really helping us out at the high school level immediately. Well, let's transition back to the high school, and our other Winter 1 season group is bowling, and bowling gets ready to hit the lanes for the regular season next week. They went through tryouts and practices, and coming off of a year where they won a championship and did have, not probably, they absolutely had the best boys team we've ever had in school history. this year, who knows? And that was kind of the words of Mr. Burr and Mr. Sealy. Like, who knows what anybody has in our conference this year? We certainly are rebuilding a little bit on the boys' side. The girls' side projects to be pretty strong, led by Ree Ferris and Mary Citrone. But I like the fact that you walk in any house. That's what they call it in bowling, the Alice. I don't know if you know that.
I did. I was just confused right there.
All right, so make sure you get your bowling lingo correct. But they walk into any house, and it's anybody's game. Just comes down to who can lock in and who can get better week to week. So I'm excited to see what they can do this season. I know Coach Burr and Coach Shealy are just really thrilled with the group of kids that did decide to come out this year. They're just excited about the fun and enthusiasm that those kids are operating with. And hopefully when it's time to start, slinging the ball, we can get after it and get a little bit better every single day.
And I think they will. Both programs have been phenomenal. Coach Burr and Coach Sealy do a great job. I know you had talked to Coach Burr. I did get an opportunity to talk with Coach Sealy, specifically about the boys team. And he said, Mr. Panchella, it's a different group, but it's a group that does want to work and they want to get better. And he said that the fact that they're so committed to it is what has him most excited, because you can get better throughout the year. And I think that will help some of these underclassmen and hopefully some people listening understand that you don't have to bowl your whole life. There's opportunities out there for you to compete. And we've got some students really taking advantage of that this winter. And I know he was excited to work with that group and see what they could bring. But right away, he said the commitment of the group has been fantastic.
And if you want to be part of an intense conversation, talk to Coach Burr about oil patterns on different lanes in different houses. That's real. When he's on the board drawing oil patterns, it's unbelievable.
I can't even imagine. I know Coach Sealy was saying that he expects some of these boys, they'll probably be bringing their own balls in soon because they want to get that action on those oil patterns that you don't get from the house ball. So both programs are going to compete. Again, just an unbelievable opportunity to get out there in a season that probably, didn't have to happen, and here they are getting this opportunity. So great to see so many student athletes taking advantage of an opportunity to compete.
Question of the day is, are we having the Scotch doubles tournament that we usually have at the end of the season where our bowlers get to pick a staff member to partner up with, and somehow, some way, Mr. Kirshner always ends up with the best bowler on either team, and they just crush everyone. It's really interesting how that happens.
And it's amazing, wouldn't you know it, that Mr. Kirshner,
former head bowling coach, by the way,
good at something else, phenomenal bowler as well. You give this guy anything, and he's ready to go. Gave him a disc golf disc, and all of a sudden he's better than me in a few weeks.
Ridiculousness.
Give him a baseball, he can still throw it 90 miles an hour. You want a cornhole bag in the hole 10 times?
I'm done. I get it. He's a national champion pitcher.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And let's wrap this up with a little recap of the middle school fall sports.
I know, and it slipped my mind, and I apologize to the middle school, especially because the coaches of the two programs that did get to compete this past fall are a part of my department. One being our department head, Coach Ramaglia, and the other being Coach Cross.
Better pray for tenure, bro.
Whew, I'm on the hot seat right now, but no, this is something I wanted to do, and I definitely wanted to give them a shout out, and especially those students at the middle school. But Coach Ramaglia's team, undefeated season in a pandemic season. Wow. She spoke about how proud her and Coach Prez were of the group in general to just show up in September and be ready to go. She said the pride that the girls took on keeping themselves healthy and making the most of every opportunity is why it was one of the more exciting groups that they've ever had. Forget there being championships or anything like that. She said the leadership of the 8th graders and what they did for the underclassmen and how they led by example, she said was everything her and Coach could have asked for and more. And she cannot be more excited about this gritty group of 7th graders coming up who got to work through that adversity as well. And she's expecting to not rebuild. They're just reloading for next year to really get after another full, hopefully a full season, which it should be, where they can continue to let everybody in the area know that West Deptford field hockey as a whole is a force to be reckoned with.
What a great example of what a relationship between each level can get you. There's no doubt that the success that we have had throughout the last decades, obviously we've had phenomenal coaches at all levels, but the fact that our girls are playing at such a high level at the 7th and 8th grade level is directly impactful of what happens here at the high school.
Oh, you get that same type of feeling. I know Coach Vermaglia talking about, yeah, Joe, we've got Haddonfield today. It's the same feel.
Oh, it's the same. Yeah,
they're getting after it day in and day out.
It better be.
Just unbelievably exciting to see how that works. And again, building that pipeline. And you better believe I hear Coach Vermaglia walking in the hallways like, hey, so-and-so, going to the high school next year, right? Going to play hockey, right? Making sure that we're keeping kids in this town and following this tradition of dominance in the field hockey world. It's you can see why it's been so successful. And like we talked about in the last episode, your wife continuing to build it at the youth ranks. I mean, here it is. And the talent is here and girls want to play. So it's very, very exciting.
That's awesome. Talk to us about West Deptford Middle School cross country.
Whew, what a year for Coach Cross and the middle school cross country team. In a pandemic year, he had 40 boys and girls come out for the cross-country team, grades 6 through 8. At the Colonial Conference Middle School Championships, he had 9 student athletes earn medals, including first place for the girls and first place for the boys. I'll get to them shortly. But others who placed, we've got number 4, Talia Tomlinson, number 9, Madison Eastlack, number 13, Natalie Ott. Number 15, Joanne Newshell. Number 25, Leah Brady. A lot of these names I think you may know as well.
Oh, sure do, man. A lot of siblings action here. Newshell, that's my youngest daughter's teacher right now, so I know every single last name you just said, man.
I felt the same way as I saw some of these names. And on the boys' side, Alan Eastlack and Jackson Kuhn. All right. This was the first time ever that a boy and girl took first in the same season for the West Deptford Middle School cross-country team at the Colonial Conference Championships. And the winner for the girls was Hunter Kinsing, and the winner for the boys was Brady Cobb.
Wow.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
So just to shout them out, congratulations to both of them. Hunter ran a 2,400 meter in 8 minutes, 55 seconds. That's a mile and a half, Mr. Morrell.
I did that yesterday.
All right. And currently is the fastest time for a middle schooler in the entire country. 8 minutes,
West
55
Deptford High
seconds.
School has the fastest middle schooler in the country.
Coming up through the ranks in sixth grade. And Brady Cobb, 7th grader, he ran an 8:48, fastest 7th grade boys time in the state of New Jersey. Unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen Brady lately. He's grown about 6 inches. Got to watch him play some basketball yesterday as well, so he's staying involved down there. But congratulations to Coach Cross and the middle school cross-country team. And what I'd like to say is I hope those middle schoolers, if they don't play another fall sport, that they continue to want to run at the high school. We've got some very competitive programs that we talked about in our
toughest decision, right?
Last episode. But the cross country teams are here to compete, and there's some openings and opportunities for people to get involved early, especially as freshmen, and compete on those teams and make some noise around the state or the country for that matter.
Just so impressive at the level of excellence at all of our schools. Athletically as we speak now, obviously academically, but athletically as we're talking now, it's really impressive and humbling.
That's been awesome. And, that Coach Cross and Coach Vermaglia, 20-plus years each at West Deptford, just continuing to give back to the community and the kids. And it's been a lot of fun for me to learn more about it and see that the high school and the middle school we're continuing to work together. And I hope that you and I and through the students are able to bring that even closer to see that the work starts when you enter that middle school, and we hope it takes you all the way through your senior year at West Deptford.
It's awesome to be talking high school and middle school right now. Like, we didn't know what it was going to look like, but it's just great to hear about what's coming up. I mean, we might be talking about these kids for the next 6 years.
That's exactly how I look at it. We're going to get to follow some of these careers all the way through and see what kind of noise they can make.
So as we come to a wrap here, we got some final words, and I'm going to kick us off down the stretch here, and I'll let you wrap up with it, Mr. Panch. But, my final words here to our audience, and particularly, again, our student athletes and our students in general, is in life, what do you want to be? And we talked about this extensively before we came on. Do you want to be a zoo tiger or do you want to be a jungle tiger? So what's the difference between a zoo tiger and a jungle tiger? Well, a zoo tiger is kept in a cage. It's fed on time. Its palms are up, always wondering, where's my food at? Come bring me my food. I'll go for a walk on the rocks out back. I live a very comfortable life. And I am just fine with being comfortable. But then you have a tendency to go, where's the things that I want without actually having to go out and hunt for them. And then you flip over to the jungle tiger. Right? My palms aren't up, my palms are down.
Digging into the dirt.
And now I have to hunt for my meals. I have to work for what I want. I'm never expecting anyone to give me anything. And that creates that's just that drive and motivation and that attitude where I need these things to survive, and I'm going to make it happen. And that's where I challenge. I challenge our student athletes certainly to operate, to ask themselves, how am I operating right now? Am I operating as a zoo tiger where I'm just comfortable with my palms up? When am I going to get playing time? Why don't I get in more? Why am I not in right now? Or are you going to flip the switch and be, or are you already a jungle tiger that says, I'm not asking for anything. I'm going to go take what I need and get what I need to survive. And I'm not asking any questions or expecting anything extra from anybody. So, I think the more jungle tigers we have that are prowling around the nest, and the more success we'll have. And that goes across the board. Academics, don't ask yourself, well, why is she giving me a 0? Why is he giving me a 50? Well, go out and earn what you want. If you want 100, then attack your studies. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think it's that difficult of a concept, but we need more jungle tigers.
Absolutely. And as goofy as it may sound to some of you, when you really think about that, it's what life is. And forget athletics, but for school and for your growth and maturation. And as you get into the work field or you head off to college, these things are going to matter. All right. And I think you just hit the nail on the head. Being able to have the tough conversations, not asking, why didn't I get something? But, hey, what can I do to get there? What else do I need to do to be that person? Stop looking for things to be handed to you and go out and earn them. Don't be afraid to ask those tough questions or be in those uncomfortable situations. You're going to find out about yourself, a whole lot about yourself. And I hope that's what our listeners take from this, that we're just trying to give you a little bit more to help you take that next step, something that we wish someone gave us, and we're now trying to pay that forward, and we hope you do the same for someone else. So please know that this is not for us. This is for you. We'd love to hear from you. If there's something great that happens in the community or something outside of school, you're involved in something else, please let us know. We'd love to shout you out. We'd love to honor it. We'd love to talk about anything that you want to hear about. And we can't wait to continue to bring you exciting news from our middle school and high school athletics. And as more things happen, we can't wait to bring them to you. So we hope you continue to listen. Please reach out to us with anything at all. We are here for you. We are here to support you. We are here to promote you. And we hope that we give you what you need to be successful in the future. So keep on listening. Hang in there, West Deptford. Keep fighting hard. All right. Jungle Tiger, Jungle Tiger, Jungle Tiger. All right. Have a great day, West Deptford, and we will see you soon.
Bring the juice.